I ruined my cheating wife's secret getaway at her hotel by serving a room service. Oh, I can't wait. Let's get started. A bit of a background. I, male 43, and my significant other, female 40, have been married for 16 years. We have 2 kids, a 14-year-old daughter and our 9-year-old son. Our marriage was very rocky in the beginning, but we made it through those tough years and had come out much better from it. We married young, so maturity wasn't all there yet, but we knew we loved each other and could conquer any obstacle that comes between our marriage. I'm still not sure whether this was wishful thinking. Anyway, my wife is a manager of a very big advertising company for 3 years, and I'm in engineering, 7 years. Both of our jobs pay well and gave our family a pretty good lifestyle. We were a very tight-knit family. We always make sure as parents that we were there for our kids to create great memories. No matter how busy we got, we always made time for our kids. Honestly, I consider myself a good dad and husband. I messed up sometimes when it came to my wife, but I did anything for this woman, and it honestly shocked me to my core when I found out that she was in a long-term affair. Which brings me to discovery. Wife was acting distant. In fact, the last 2 years before this one were the hardest. She just didn't seem to like anything I did. She kept comparing me to her boss. Yes, I know now, and would always tell me how he would handle this or that. Can't read her mind? Well, her boss can. Don't take initiative to take her out on dates and make her feel special? Well, her boss does that for his wife. Why was I so immature? I would ask what she wanted me to do to spice up our love life. Her answer usually is don't ask. You need to already know and do it. So I researched, bought books, since I was clueless someone else had to have the answer. Anything I attempted was met with either half-hearted appreciation or bitter disappointment. My wife was never like this in the years I've known her, so I thought that inability to make her happy was something I seriously needed to fix. Little did I know, it wasn't me who was doing the fixing the entire time. We were very close to her boss and his wife. They also have kids, and the kids loved each other. We brought them to our barbecues, family outings to the park, game days at the arcade. They have been to our house numerous times, and we've been to theirs. It's no surprise that we became close. I would confide in her boss about our marital problems. He gave me good advice. I thought he was a swell guy. Anyway, back to the discovery. I had grown emotionally tired from wife's demands to better myself, or the marriage was done. I was honestly shocked with her attitude because before all this, I thought we had a great marriage. So one night, she was busy laughing and giggling while texting someone. I was next to her in bed and was curious. The moment I leaned my head to take a peek, she viciously pulled away from me. She was angry instantly, asking me what I was doing. I told her I wanted to see what the joke was, and she told me it was none of my business and retreated to the bathroom. I think that's the day when I knew deep down that there was an affair of sorts going on. I did not have proof, though. I made the mistake of asking her directly the next day. She was furious and denied any wrongdoing. I did not have the access to her phone, but I wanted the truth terribly. I asked for her phone, and she refused. Only later during the night did she grudgingly give me the phone. Almost every text message she sent to specific people were deleted. I could tell because some conversations seemed inconsistent and others downright ridiculous. I gave her the phone back, and we did not speak of it until a month later when I was able to get a buddy on it to check the phone and recover deleted texts. My wife had gotten another phone prior and hardly used the one she handed to me. Some texts were recovered, and it was through bits and pieces that I finally had proof that there was an affair going on, and you already guessed it, with her boss. I just knew if I confronted her then and there she would find some way to weasel out of it. So I bid my time. I was a wreck, though. All I could think about is how it was going to affect the kids. The situation was horrible, and I cried in front of my buddy. I still did not want to give up the marriage, so 3 days later, I bought How to Help Your Spouse Heal from an Affair. It's okay if you're shaking your head. I started reading, hoping that if I gave it to my wife, she would stop this nonsense. I wanted my wife back, and I wanted to save the marriage. I had planned on talking to her on that Saturday to work things out, but she had told me they had an emergency at work and not to wait up on her. Of course, I contacted the workplace on the day to confirm the story she gave me and received no answer. They were not open on Saturdays. I tried her phone, but no answer. She came back home at 2 in the morning on Sunday and immediately showered and then came to bed. I asked why she was late, and she dodged the question by saying that she already told me not to wait for her. I was sick of this. I did not give her the book I brought. I was suffering and she didn't care. She saw me suffering and didn't care. I contacted her boss's wife to find out from her if she knew anything. I was so desperate for stability, and to this day I don't regret doing that. She was as shocked as I was when finding out. She wanted to confront her husband, but I told her he will probably lie and try to hide it better like my wife did. We met at her house to discuss what was going on, and I gave her the little proof that we had. She wanted more evidence, so we both decided to gather evidence on each of our sides and compare them. I started snooping on my wife more, and she did the same with her husband. It was very easy on her end to find undeniable proof. Her husband was so arrogant that he didn't even delete the text on his phone between him and my wife, and the little texts I found earlier finally made sense. And we had a whole picture of how long the affair was. 2 years. The boss's wife was livid and so was I. She wanted to get revenge on them and so did I. They slept together everywhere. Her house, my house, expensive hotels, business trips. It was sickening to read all that. They even sent each other pics. But we decided to ignore the pics because we didn't want to scar ourselves from the images. We wanted revenge, but not an affair ourselves. We both decided that if they wanted each other, then they can have each other. We both threw divorce papers at around about the same time. We were dead set on it. Our spouses didn't know that we knew, and we acted our part. By the time our ducks were in a row, they were at it again. This time, through collaborating with the boss's wife, we knew exactly where and how they were going to be served. We knew which hotel they booked for their weekend of fun. I personally went there with the sheriff. I waited in the lobby as the sheriff got everything working and my wife was called to come down to her room. She did, dressed in a bathrobe, and I fear nothing else. She's panicking, frantically asking me what I was doing there. It was quite a distance from our home, but not too far. The sheriff asked for confirmation of her name and information. She confusedly answered in the affirmative and was served. It was very satisfying to see the shocked look on her face, but I did not want to rub it in. So I decided to walk away knowing the job was done. She didn't let me and was holding my arm, pulling me back and demanding to know what was the meaning of this. I told her you had an affair and I'm leaving you. Simple. She started screaming at me, pulling my arm hard. The sheriff had to step in and tell her to release me at once. She did so and started crying, telling me she can explain. I have the wrong idea. It's my fault. I was getting angry, so I left quickly to get home. My wife told her boss and he panicked. From what I was told, he rushed home only to be served there. We did not give them time to get their heads on straight. We blindsided them just like they did us. My divorce will be finalized in a couple of months. Hers might be taking a bit longer. Both my wife and her boss have been fighting us on the divorces. Neither wants to get divorced. The excuses I hear is that they never intended to leave their spouses. It was a purely sexual affair, nothing more. People have worse affairs and still come out with a great marriage. They messed up and would like a chance to unmask up the situation. I have asked my wife what she thought the outcome of all this was. She said she was going with the flow and acted completely out of character. She is not that person anymore. I told her she's an idiot. People around me are calling me evil for not giving my wife another chance. My kids know what's going on, age appropriate, and they are behind me 100%. But like it if we stay together. My resolve is slipping, coupled by the fact that we still live in the same house and my wife is going to therapy and reading the book I bought. It's getting harder to stick to my guns. She says she's remorseful and will do whatever it takes. All I tell her is that she's sorry she got caught, and that's all I need to know. She's called me a bitter, resentful person who can't look past all the negativity. She apologized for it later, but I know that's how she feels. The boss's wife and I still talk, and my wife absolutely hates that. She thinks I'm going to have a revenge affair. Her boss's wife is the reason I will not give us another chance. She asked me repeatedly to initiate no contact with her boss's wife, just like she did with her boss. I told her she's crazy. We didn't do anything wrong. Why should I respect your opinions now? See? I think I'm done. I have no respect for her. She still doesn't want to give up and is actively trying to engage with me about her thoughts and processes to her affair. I see them as excuses, so I don't entertain her. She wants me to do therapy with her. I read many places where the therapist blames the victim. So I was like, hell no. She wants me to read infidelity books with her. What is the point if we're going to divorce anyway? She wants to be intimate. I told her she was not going to manipulate me with sex. She says it's not manipulation, and she just wants to show me how much she loves me. I corrected and said, love me now. You mean? People around me are frustrated with me, even my mom, because they say people make mistakes and my wife realizes through her mistakes that she truly does love me. I told people that I will never be anyone's fallback plan. I feel very bad for treating her the way I do. I still love her, even though there's hate there. Am I being unnecessarily cruel to her? She's trying really hard, but I just don't care. Should I reconsider the divorce? People are saying I'm moving too quickly and I will regret it. Is that true? I don't know what's real and what's not. Update 1. Firstly, my wife and I are in sort of a good place right now. It is not because we are reconciling. No, I'm still divorcing her. The last update I posted, which was taken down by the auto mod, explained in great detail our situation. The short version is my wife is still begging for another chance and is doing whatever it takes to get it. I will not give it to her because her affair was way too long for me to get over. If it had been a one-night stand, that would be a different story. But no, 2 years is just a slap in the face. I have gone to a few therapy sessions with her because I'm not a monster and still love her. One session was very good. You maybe understand that my wife is actually remorseful. She has not been perfect with how she handled the fallout of her affair, but she has been trying pretty darn hard. Second session was a mess of her upset at me for continuously contacting the boss's wife, and her being afraid of a revenge affair. It was the angriest I ever was through this whole mess. And we did argue a great deal later because I refused to do what she wanted, which is no contact with the boss's wife. That was resolved when I promised her that there will be no revenge affair. I know I don't owe her anything, but she's still my wife until our divorce. And I still want to hold true to my commitments. I have been going to a few more sessions with her just to see her progress. Yes, this therapist is an individual and marriage therapist. No, I'm not going to these sessions because deep down I want to save our marriage. I want to see my wife's progress myself, participate if I have to. After the divorce, I will step away gracefully. The boss's wife is still leaving her husband. Her husband is still fighting her on the divorce. She is as adamant as I am. And I will admit we do confide in each other when we have low days. I still do not see any affair happening. We are just on friendly terms with each other. That's all. She is a strong and independent woman who takes no bull crap from anyone. My kids are fine. They know just because we're divorcing doesn't mean we love them any less. They don't want a divorce, but understand why it's necessary for us in an age-appropriate manner. My wife doesn't work at the advertisement company anymore. She works elsewhere. She resigned shortly after I served her. She has been strictly no contact with her former boss. According to her, she reached out on forums to get help on saving the marriage and used that advice. I've been reading a lot here, and at first, I didn't understand why people stayed with adulterers. But after seeing my wife work her butt off to be a better person, I can see the temptation. She's not a monster. She's just flawed and made horrible choices, which she's learning to be better from. She has offered me everything under the sun to be given another chance. I'm not so sure I have it in me. The closer divorce comes to being final, the more at peace I feel. We recently had a long discussion of her asking to have a chance after divorce. She has offered her a postnup. I was not completely opposed to it actually, but it would be a very, very long road for her to travel for me to even consider it a possibility. She seems quite willing, but I don't see how that would benefit any of us. To be honest, a huge part of me wants this divorce out of a fleeting sense of justice. It's the only justice I can get without lowering myself to an adult for her. My mom and I made up after I revealed more about my wife's affair, although now she's absolutely furious with my wife after learning the details. I don't know how to navigate that one. Update 2. Revenge affair. As many of you know, my wife is scared about a revenge affair. Simple reason is because I'm still in contact and see the other woman she betrayed. My wife is very insecure compared to OBS. Is that how it's spelled? OBS is younger, a model, very attractive, and owns a successful business. It makes my wife paranoid that I will give in to temptation and cheat on her as revenge. I still cannot believe the nerve of her to give me the two wrongs don't make a right speech. Of course, she isn't wrong and I don't intend to ever follow through. But her hypocrisy infuriates me. Every time I'm going to visit OBS, like yesterday, she gets extremely sad or extremely clingy. I don't know how many times she has thrown herself at me just to make sure that I don't cheat on her back. I reject her attempts, and it only makes things worse. It absolutely floors me that cheaters are this selfish. Only think about themselves and their pain while they're betrayed have to trudge along and try to pick up the pieces. Another thing, our kids still see their kids. I never go to OBS without my kids. But no, my wife still thinks I have it in me to be as heartless as she was and take any opportunity to bang the woman. Laughable crap. OM is still living in their holiday home, begging OBS to take him back. I'm not going to lie. It brings me a sense of great satisfaction to see him suffer the consequences. He has not tried to threaten me because of how much leverage I have on him. He has to deal with the fact that I'm still in contact with his wife. He's allowed to visit his kids anytime he wants, but doesn't want to see me. So he makes sure I'm not around and then visits. I pity the guy honestly. Currently, my wife has been super apologetic. She has showered me with affection, which I simply brushed off. I'm not in a good place. We are having a therapy session today, and I feel like unloading all the pain and hurt I've had to endure because of her. The rage I feel is becoming overwhelming. Update 3. It finally dawned on me. I thought I wasted all these years on a woman who was nothing but worthless, but she gave me great kids and great memories. These things I will never forget and will cherish as a man. But I finally understand I can do better than her, and I'm going to do better than her. I have had a flood of people giving me advice on how to deal with this situation. I finally understand that I deserve better than her. She screwed me over, put me down. It made me feel less than when another man showed her attention. She literally invested her energy in another dude. I can't believe I'm finally coming to terms that I'm over her only now. Now she does whatever it takes to keep me. Now she's investing her energy in us. Now she wants me to be happy when she didn't give a darn before. Now she wants to be this adventurous person in sex with me. The sex we had was never mind-blowing, but I liked it. Now I see how much I've missed out on. Through her text with OM, I know just the tip of the iceberg how graphic their tries were. Now she wants to show me just how much she loves me when admittedly she has been quite lazy before. The lazy sex speaks volumes to me. Now she gives me space and is happy and supportive of anything I do. When before it was all about giving her attention and providing for her at the same time. Now she values my boundaries and goes above and beyond to add to them. Now she sees me as the king I wish she saw me as before. But no, I had to smack her off her pedestal first. Now she's the ideal woman, but it seems fleeting to me. Now she's completely transparent with me about everything. She is brutally honest too. Even if it will upset me or embarrass herself, I don't think I've ever seen any woman with a consistent look of shame on her face before. She wishes this affair never happened. I can see how much she kicks herself every day. I can see the hopelessness on her face when I'm just not receptive to anything she does. She looks so miserable, especially when she tries to hide it. It makes me hate myself sometimes, but to me it's necessary. Why can't I see this as a positive thing? Why can't I judge her for her actions now? They show remorse, right? Many people have long-term affairs and come out even stronger than before, right? Why am I basing my decisions off emotion and not a place of mature objectification? Someone else will end up getting the better and improved version of her, while I venture into another uncertain relationship. Why not fight for this when everything seems to point to something good in a future? These are the lines I've been given, and I have one answer. I will not accept disrespect. Maybe I was willing to in the early stages of discovery, but I woke up from that quickly. This is to answer the people who have PM'd me and regularly asked about my situation. I'm going to enjoy this Christmas with my entire family and then move on from my wife. I decided to stop listening to the nonsense I created in my head to keep my wife's control over me and move on entirely from the idea of her. I will not be dating her or giving us another chance. We are over for good. I like to say that my wife isn't a villain, and that is true. I want her to be happy as well, but it will never be with me. She has shown me that. I have called OBS today and offered her dinner after the holidays for her support when I absolutely hit rock bottom. She said she would love to. I know this stuff doesn't happen often, but we really supported each other throughout all this, and I owe her thanks. Before people start talking about how much I planned this with OBS, I honestly did not. My emotions have been so screwed up this few years that the very thought of another woman never crossed my mind, and it's dinner. Nothing else unless we both want it. But the closer divorce gets and the more I realize I actually have options, and one option has been right there. What about OM? I don't give a fly-on flip about that dude. I do not think I will marry again, and I will tell this to any woman. Although my divorce hasn't been much of a hassle, I am losing a lot of money still. The whole idea of marriage just seems like a sham to me now. Sorry for being so cynical right now. I don't want this post to offend anyone, but I'm still jaded. I gave my best years to this woman, and I'm starting to realize how little I got back. Alright, update 4. Officially divorced, plus the date with OBS. It's over. My ex and I have officially separated for good. It happened almost 3 weeks ago. For the better part of a few days after the fact, I grieved like I lost a loved one. I think it hit me extremely hard that my marriage failed so spectacularly. Never cried that hard ever since I discovered the affair in the first place. I raged a lot too, definitely one of my lowest points. Everything has been organized for my ex, partially on my part for the kids' sake. She moved out of the house, and I'm looking to buy her out of her part of it. She lives in an apartment now. Very big downgrade for her, and it pretty much depresses her. She's still going to the therapist, still invested in reading and studying infidelity. Don't know exactly why. We've had long talks leading to and after the divorce, minimal physical contact. I know I shouldn't entertain her now, but she's still the mother of my kids, and I want us to be good co-parents. I'm nothing if not logical about the situation, largely thanks to this community and others. Of course, it's the same tune. She wants to reconcile, and I think it's too risky for me to put myself in that situation again. Unfortunately, I'm not in the mood to give her that gift. This past weekend, I accompanied OBS to dinner, with no intention other than enjoying each other's company and chatting. We talked about all sorts of things. Things got flirty between us, and I must admit I was very reluctant to entertain the rapidly changing mood. Well, I guess I should say the night ended in a very passionate way. Sorry for TMI. It was probably the most mind-blowing sex I've ever had. OBS is very much a giver and spades above my ex. I did not intend for it to go that far, but OBS was willing and I was as well. Learned quite a few more tricks in the sack. First time I ever had someone that enthusiastic to please me, and not the other way around. Guess I shouldn't call her OBS anymore, as she has divorced her ex, but for privacy's sake, I'll just use that. I do not think we will take our relationship further, to be honest. I think the hormones and wine got the best of us that night. She would like to, but I am undecided. I need to sort myself out emotionally, and I think she does as well. I feel very good though. People might not like hearing this, but the sex I had with OBS really helped a lot with my residual self-esteem issues. I felt desired, alive, and finally understood what I was missing out on. I will never settle for robotic sex again. What was more satisfying was knowing that I was not cheating and did not lower my morals. All things considered, I am very proud of how I handled all this crap. I wasn't perfect, but did the best I could. I am probably coming out very lucky compared to many BHs, even if I did lose a substantial amount of money in this process. But it was because I was willing to absorb advice and listen to people with experience, instead of going in blind and hoping for the best. For that, I will be forever grateful to you guys. You and everyone who lent me an ear, saved me from destroying my self-worth even further. Alright, on to the final update. Closure.
I'm okay.
No accidents.
No poof.
I'm off the face of the earth. I'm still an IC. OBS is still my girlfriend. She managed to settle her case with OM when it came to child custody and finances. She could have been vengeful and taken into the cleaners, but instead she handled that situation maturely. There is indeed some friction between the children over all this. We were trying to deal with it as best as possible. We have had to start their therapy to make sure they properly adjust and understand that the relationship OBS and I have has little bearing on them, but we do consider them important when it comes to how this situation is handled. This is extremely hard because not everyone is on board, my daughter. My ex and OM do not like being around each other. I genuinely think both of them blame the other for how things turned out, and I'm not kidding here. There is tension when those two are in close proximity to each other. My ex still wants a second chance and is probably angry that OBS is in the way of me seeing things clearly and not throwing away all we have indefinitely. This woman is so deluded, I'm genuinely worried about her antics. She tried something at a 4th of July party a friend of mine threw. I shut it down, but I guess not firmly enough. I did not believe the people that said she would be pinning for me, but you guys were right. She wants to come crawling back in a bad way. OBS is letting me handle that, but she's getting sick of my ex too. Did I mention my ex hates OBS with a passion? I really thought that my ex was changing herself for the better, but ever since I left her but for someone else, she's been a train wreck. That's what I still don't get. I treated her better than I treated anyone else in my life, and she's treated me like crap. But the moment I basically say F you, she's doing backflips trying to get my attention. I don't know whether it's something I should be angry about. Well, there you have it. Y'all can rest easy now.